No, spirituality is you. It's you finding yourself and you being who you actually are. That's what spirituality is. It's stripping away all the nonsense. So spirituality is for absolutely everyone. Hello guys, welcome back to the Inner Retreat. I'm just outside, just gonna meditate, but I thought let me just upload a video about spirituality and how it works, what it is, some misconceptions, and also how you can get into it and why it's important for you to get into it, and basically why everyone should be a spiritual person. So let me start by explaining to you how I got into spirituality. So I had no inclination that I would become a spiritual person, but it started 2 years ago. I've told a couple people the story. I was depressed during year 12 and I just started meditating to calm my mind down and just to relax. So at the time I had no idea what meditation could do for me. I thought it was just a tool that you could use to relax yourself, and of course that is one aspect of meditation. So I began meditating and I started doing it quite consistently. Actually, I was meditating like every day for a month, and I didn't have any sort of spiritual experiences from that, but that's really just the setup of how I started to get into aspects of my life that aren't based on external pleasures and validation. I just wanted to sort myself out really, and that's how it started. So after I began meditating, I got into smoking marijuana. But when I first smoked, it wasn't for any sort of spiritual purpose. It was purely just for the social aspect of smoking. But let me fast forward a little bit. What is that? A moth or something just flew on my nose. But the reason why I bring up smoking marijuana is because that is the core reason why I'm even a spiritual person. So marijuana has a lot of negative stigma attached to it, but what happened with me was once I began smoking, I wanted to try out meditation whilst I was high, and it was just a test, like, because obviously if you meditate you get really relaxed. So I was thinking if I smoke and then meditate, it would compound and it would make me even more relaxed. But what happened was I smoked and then I was listening to some binaural beats, and those are some audios that use specific frequencies, and those frequencies can conjure different emotions and feelings within you. And the one I played was called Ego Death Meditation, and I played that in the park and I had a really crazy experience, and that was in May 2022, and that's how my spiritual journey started. It was a complete coincidence, but I had a very interesting spiritual experience. And what happened was I was lying down and I started to look into the sky, and I could see the entire earth, even though I was on the earth. So imagine you look up to the sky and you can see the earth above you. So this was quite crazy to me. I never experienced anything like that. And I closed my eyes and then I could just see all red around me. And then it felt like I was back in my mother's womb, because you know how they show you the, what's it called, amniotic fluid or something? Like when you're in your mother's womb, it's all red and you can like press about. That's basically how it felt. And these experiences were very unusual and strange to me, so it really opened my mind up to new possibilities that I never thought were possible. So these experiences, they weren't even really spiritual. They kind of were, but looking back at it, they're not that spiritual, but it's what led me into spirituality. So after that, I thought I was becoming a god. I thought I was the GOAT because I was having these crazy experiences, but little did I know what I experienced there was just the tip of the iceberg. That was like 0.001% of what spirituality really is, and to this day I'm nowhere even close to reaching more than 10%, because I know just how deep spirituality is. probably 1%, less than that. But so after I had that crazy experience, I started to learn about spirituality on YouTube. I would watch videos about how we came to be, or like I'll look at different perspectives. So obviously, like before this, I didn't give a toss about anything. I was just concerned about my own life and work, friends, stuff like that. But this experience opened my mind and made me realize I need to actually question what is going on here, because you can have some crazy experiences. So that led me into wondering about enlightenment and all sorts of things. So that's really how I started my spirituality journey. And what spirituality is to me now is completely different to me. Means something completely different from back then, compared to back then. Because back then, spirituality was basically just about reaching different states, and that's basically all I was really concerned about. But now for me, spirituality is about dissolving my ego and becoming more wise and becoming more conscious. So now I'm not too focused on reaching any particular states. I'm more focused on clearing my mind of all the rubbish and all the distractions. I'm just trying to become more peaceful and more one with reality. So that's a nice introduction to how I got into spirituality. And now I'm going to explain to you what spirituality actually is. So spirituality is basically the essence of life. There's no one way to do spirituality. Religions are spiritual, your own traditions can be spiritual, but spirituality is getting in touch with the essence of life. That's where it is to me, and I think that's the best way to explain what spirituality is. So there's no like one practice or one method or one spiritual tradition anyone needs to follow, but just saying that it's the essence of life isn't enough for you to understand. So let me give you a better explanation of what spirituality is. So as people, we tend to think that our lives right now in the 21st century is centered around work, business, family, all those external things like that. Spirituality is turning your eyes back into yourself and realizing you need to sort yourself out, because all of us have problems and issues within us, but we don't tackle them. Spirituality is about tackling those issues, and it's about becoming more conscious. So it's something that's important for everyone. It's not just something that you should look to do to achieve certain states or something. Spirituality is about grounding yourself again, grounding yourself in reality. It's not about any religion or anything. It's literally just grounding yourself back into reality, because we have completely separated ourselves from reality as people, and we need to understand that there's more to life than these external pleasures. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a better understanding of what spirituality is. Let me tell you, smoking marijuana is one of the best ways, in my opinion, that you can that you can get into spirituality, because people like smoking. So if you want to actually raise your consciousness, you can use that plant to advance yourself instead of using it to numb yourself. So it's a tough thing, and I'm going to delve into smoking marijuana in a future video, because it can trap you, and I struggled with it a little bit. I haven't really struggled with it because I can take breaks whenever I want. I'm taking a detox right now because you can't constantly use it. You need to take breaks, but that'll be for a separate video. But if you do want to get into spirituality, smoking marijuana can enhance your state of mind. If you have smoked, then you will know that whatever you do, if you smoke, it will make it better, or it will enhance it. So it won't necessarily make it better, it could make you worse, but generally it will enhance whatever you're doing. So if something's funny, if you smoke, it will be 10 times funnier. So the same applies to spirituality. If you meditate and you smoke marijuana, your meditation will be deeper, but you can't keep banging it out because you build up a tolerance. So that's why you need to take breaks, and you need to spend a lot of time meditating and doing your spiritual practices without marijuana. But using marijuana is a good tool, and I would say not to abuse it and to use it wisely, and don't demonize it either. I'm tired of people demonizing marijuana. Okay, what else was I gonna say? So what is spirituality? How you can get into spirituality. So apart from marijuana, obviously meditation. You don't have to do long meditations, but the reason why meditation is key is because it's stripping away all the distractions and it's forcing you to settle down into the present moment. When you can settle into the present moment, you're forced to look into yourself, and you're forced to deal with all of the bad thoughts and annoying things that are going on in your head. So most people, they don't ever deal with that because they're constantly doing something. But meditation isn't just sitting down. You can be meditating when you're walking, you can be meditating when you're talking to people, but those are really advanced stages of meditation, because to be able to be present and not distracted whilst you're doing something requires a lot of practice. I can't do it yet. I still need to sit down to meditate because I cannot be doing two things at once at the moment. It just doesn't work for me. I can do walking meditation sometimes, but walking meditation is still difficult. I'll be looking around whilst I'm walking and I can get distracted a little bit. So if you're a beginner, I would say meditation is good because you get to sit down and face yourself. So when you meditate, you're going to experience a lot of troubles and a lot of resistance. Nobody really told me when I first started meditating that resistance is a good thing and all the chatter in your mind is a good thing. So when you sit down and you start hearing all the chatter and you want to scratch, you want to move, that's good. Don't think you're doing anything wrong. That's good. You're facing all the issues and all the problems. If you give in to them, then you're kind of failing, but you can always try again. If you can see the resistance building up and you don't run away from it and you face it head on, you stick with it, then you're actually breaking down the barriers inside of your mind and you're growing yourself. So when you sit down and you meditate and there's all this chatter in your mind, just sit there and be aware of it. Ask yourself, why is this in my head? And that's what I'm doing, and it's making me become way more aware, and I'm getting sucked into it a lot less, and I'm getting annoyed by less annoyed for myself. So usually I'll be meditating and there'll be monkey chatter, all sorts of rubbish, and I'll get so annoyed at myself. But now I've recontextualized it and I understand that I need this monkey mind, I need this chatter, so that I can understand why my mind is working this way. And when you actually start to reflect on your thoughts and the way you're thinking when you meditate, it allows you to decompress, and the thoughts will slow down over time. So practice meditation, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult. So that's spirituality for you. It's not just meditation. There's so many different techniques you can use. You can use journaling, you can go traveling, you can sit out in nature. Spirituality is getting in touch with the essence of life. That's the best way to describe it for me. The reason why it's important is because this world is crazy. Not even in terms of society and stuff like that, but just in terms of existence. The fact that you exist is absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that I exist and I'm talking to you right now is mind-blowing. The fact that there's galaxies and there's a universe and all this stuff is absolutely mind-blowing. But nobody thinks about it at all. It's all taken for granted. You need to get back in touch with the fact that this is all insane right now. When you get back in touch with that, then you're starting to tap into spirituality. That's really what it's about. So stop distracting yourself. Spend more time contemplating, why is all of this happening? Why do we all exist? What is going on? Where is the human race going? Think about these deep questions. Those deep questions is also an aspect of spirituality. So self-inquiry is something you can practice to start to cultivate a spiritual lifestyle. So maybe I'll make a different video as well, delving into some spiritual practices you can do, because there's so many, and people think that spirituality is just like one rigorous thing you need to do, like yoga or meditation, but there's so many different avenues. You can use psychedelics, you can smoke marijuana to help you. You can lie down in your bed and listen to relaxing music. You can stare out the window and look at the stars. There's so many things, but when you're just on your phone on social media, you're distracted. You're not even in real life. You're sucked into the matrix. So it's serious. It's important for you to get in touch with spirituality. Spirituality is something everyone should be into, and everyone can express their spirituality in different ways, because as I've said, there's no one way to conduct spirituality or a spiritual practice. You can express your spirituality in a different way and show other people how spirituality is done. So sometimes I climb trees and people think I'm weird for climbing trees, but I love climbing trees because it's like I'm being one with the tree and I'm connecting with the earth again, and it's also fun. So just do stuff that you enjoy. That's the key. That's a very cool aspect of spirituality as well. Do things that you enjoy by yourself. Try not to do spirituality with other people. I can't lie, spirituality with other people usually doesn't work really well, but in some cases it can. So I won't say not to, but for the most part you want your spirituality to be by yourself, especially right now. Maybe in the future, as spirituality grows and more people start to become aware that there's more to life than just all the rubbish and noise, then you'll have more people. But right now, I don't even think if you do spirituality with other people, they'll take it seriously. You need to be serious about it because it's the most important thing in life. So that is a nice segue onto why spirituality is important. What did I do? We basically just spoke about why it's important. What did we? I'm a schmuck. I've been speaking and I don't even know what I'm speaking about. Either way, let me tell you why it's important again. Just a little bit more. So I think spirituality is the most important thing that you can be doing, because what else is there to do? What else is there to do except for being grateful for the fact that we all exist here, and to just raise your consciousness and start to understand why we're all here as well. So instead of running around in a circle in the rat race, you can start to point the magnifying glass inside and understand some of these deep questions. So I think spirituality is incredibly important, and if you're not practicing spirituality, hopefully this video will give you a nice broad introduction into what you can be doing and why you should be doing it. In future videos we'll be delving into it a lot more, and we'll be talking about specific techniques and just different topics within spirituality, because spirituality is one of the deepest topics in life. So there's going to be multiple things we can talk about within just spirituality. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for you, and if you have any questions, then be sure to let me know, because I want to help as many people as possible, and I think YouTube is a great method for me to do that. Can you see that wasp? Staring at me. But yeah, so I feel like I need to help people, because I have this knowledge and I can use it. I can spread this message and just make people more aware. So if you have questions, let me know and I'll try to help you as best as I can. I don't have all the answers. I'm still just figuring everything out for myself as I go along, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from helping other people. So take care. As always, because I'm not a professional at making videos or anything, I forgot one of the topics I mentioned I'll talk about at the start, and that was some misconceptions. So let me quickly talk to you about some misconceptions about spirituality. So some people think that spirituality is just like in your head philosophy, and it's not real and it's not practical. They think that spirituality is like a religion. They think spirituality, I don't know, people they feel like it's just something else. Like, no, spirituality is you. It's you finding yourself and you being who you actually are. That's what spirituality is. It's stripping away all the nonsense. So spirituality is for absolutely everyone. Spirituality is the most practical thing as well, because what's more practical than understanding who you really are? What's more practical than understanding what life is? What's more practical than understanding what your purpose is? It doesn't get more practical than that. And it's not all in your head, because you have to embody what you learn. So for example, in one of my past videos I talked about construction. It seems impractical and it seems like it's just in your head, but if you actually embody it, it becomes bigger than that, and you can embody all these practices. And so it's not something that's just in your head, and it's not just something that's a belief. It's based on direct experience. So I think that's one of the major things that people need to understand about spirituality. It's not a belief system. That's why there's no like one rigid practice, because you are not believing in anything. You're just doing these different things and learning and embodying them and understanding them for yourself. You're not reading like, I mean, obviously you can read books and learn from them, but you're not just going to read it and then just take it and not actually embody it or try it for yourself. That's what spirituality is about. It's a one-man journey. You got to figure it out for yourself, and it's not a belief system. It's the opposite. It's the most direct and legit thing that you can do. So some people oppose spirituality because they have like a scientific and rational mind, and I was first religious, then I exited the religious stage, then I entered the rational and scientific stage, and now I'm past that and I've entered the spiritual stage. And people who are in the scientific stage think that spirituality is nonsense and it's not based on objectivity, but I beg to differ, and I would say that spirituality is the most objective thing there is, because you're basing it off of your own first-person experiences, and first-person experience is the only thing you have in life. Tell me one thing in your life that wasn't a first-person experience, because everything is filtered through your own lens. So delve into yourself, delve into your own mind. That's where it is. Break down all the preconceived notions you once had, and just stop taking things for granted. And that applies to you in every aspect of your life. Just start to question things more and become more conscious and aware. That's it. I think that touches on the misconceptions a little bit. So I think that's it now. We'll end the video there, and have a great day.